Hey all, Hipper here. So Ubisoft just, a few days ago they published a dev blog on loadout customization for the upcoming Skull and Bones. But first, don't forget to like, share and obviously subscribe if you like the content here, especially if you're going to keep up with Skull and Bones, because I'm going to be covering this game extensively. And of course, also do my usual World of Warships Legends. But it looks like they're going to do a few of these dev blogs here, and if you read the text, which I have read, you see that the customization here is just the first one. There's going to be on crafting and combat and probably a lot more than that. So I'll just go through this first one here, and it actually answers a lot of the questions I put up in one of my earlier videos. So let's get to it. So first of all, I like what's in the text here, where the developers say that, there's not going to be one ship to rule them all. All of them have different strengths and weaknesses, and depending on your loadout and your customization and everything else in the game, you can build the ship to your specific playstyle, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want in this game here. And of course, I hope there's going to be a lot of different attachments and weapons, as they call them. Right now there's enough to get started with, I agree, but I would like to see this expanded upon in the next, like year after launch or something like that. Probably, perhaps a monthly update, just like World of Warships Legends. So next up, one of the more interesting segments here in the blog actually, and the size of your ship seems to have quite a bit of impact on the game, because first of all, it's going to, go deeper in the water. So the bigger ship you have, you can pretty much only stay out in the open ocean, while you're in the smaller ships you can go up rivers and lakes, I'm assuming, and there'll probably be a lot more content available that way. So again, it's there's not one ship to rule them all. Every ship has a role to play, and it looks like there's cargo ships, navigation ships and firepower ships for now anyway. I would like to see a few more categories here, but for now it's okay. And then there's something new here, that they mention perks for each ship, and that's really interesting, because I don't know if that's like one perk common to every 12 different ships in the game, or if you can add your own perks or mix and match your perks, who knows, but it's still a very good feature that I'm very, very happy is available. So next up we have the weapon considerations you have to take into account when you are outfitting your ship. And I guess you might actually have to, take this into account every time you fit your ship for a specific mission. Who knows? But I will see when the game actually comes out. And of course, it looks like the weapons are going to have different statistics. So like range, damage, reload time, ammo consumption, trajectory, travel time, area damage, and that's really cool, because that's exactly what I want in this game here. I want a lot of customization options and a lot of ways to make your ship unique. And on top of that, there's different types of damage as well, and I did expect this, but I didn't expect this many types. There's blunt, explosive, piercing, fire, flood, crushing or tearing. Like I was expecting fire and tearing and probably just explosive, but this is even better. And I kind of assume that the perks on some ships will have a lot to say, depending on what damage type they are receiving or giving. So the blog continues to go through at least some of the weapons here. They say they're showing some of them, not all of them, so there must be more than this, I'm assuming. And of course, like cannons are, the main staple of pirate ships, and in this document there's two different types, demi-cannon and long gun. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? So at least there's two different types to choose from, which is excellent, and I hope there will be more. So next up we have Mortar here, and all the weapons are apparently attached to so-called quadrants on your ship, and most ship seems to have a few quadrants, like one in the bow, one in the stern, one starboard, one port, perhaps more than one starboard and port and bow, I'm assuming. So it looks like you can mix and match your weapons the way you want, so you don't have to go all cannon layout. You can actually also use like a few mortars in the back, for example. I don't know if that's a good idea. And again, there's a few different types: blasting, siege and repair. So again, looking very promising. Alright, next up is a Bombard, and it's some sort of like middle ground between a cannon and a mortar, and it seems like it's better for attacking, you know, fixed targets like fortresses and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but again, it's another weapon that you can choose to put on your ship, or at least one of the quadrants on your ship. Next up is a weapon we saw in the gameplay released, and it is the Ballista. And I mean, it's just a giant crossbow, really, and I think this would be a really fun weapon, actually. I'm quite excited to try it out. And again, there's at least 2 different types here, so it doesn't mean that if someone has a Ballista equipped, then you know exactly what they're capable of. It could be at least one of 2 types here, which again, yeah, like that. Alright, and we're starting to get into a little bit more unrealistic weapons now, but it's okay. I'm not gonna play this game for its realism anyway. So the first one here is rockets, and it kind of looks like, you know, an old Stalin organ from the Second World War, but it's probably a little bit more, you know, primitive than that. And again, there's 2 different types, and I'm sure it has, you know, perfect uses for some things, and it's probably not that good at attacking other ships, I'm guessing. I'm just totally guessing here. Next up, torpedoes, something I also noticed in the gameplay, and this I'm very excited about. I know they don't really belong in the era, and I don't really care at all. It's going to make for great gameplay, and I think this is going to be a very interesting weapon to put on your, especially your agile navigation ships. I think this will be, yeah, lots of potential in these torpedoes here, but again, we'll see when the game actually releases. And then we have the Greek fire, another little bit over the top weapon here. It's basically a flamethrower, really, and obviously does fire damage, I'm assuming, and let's see how this one plays out. I'm having a hard time seeing how efficient it's going to be, but we'll see. Okay, next up we get a bit of an in-depth look into what is called attachments, which for the time being looks like it's just different types of armor, and there's only 6 types, and I would really like to see more different types, or at least different levels of each type. I don't know if that's already in the game. Of course, these things you have to craft, just like the weapons and your ships, and it all looks really good, actually. I mean, again, it's a way of, you know, personalizing your ship and your playstyle and making it unique to just you. And then there's something new that I haven't heard about before, and like, it's a really weird name. It's called furniture, and apparently it's furniture that you can buy for your ship that, you know, like, is kind of like perks, I assume. So for example, I'm assuming you can buy a couch, and it will improve your gun damage in one quadrant for some odd reason. Who knows why a couch would do that? But anyway, we don't look at that part. It's again a customization option, and it also says here in the text that it actually like, it's another factor to keep in mind when you're customizing your playstyle. So really, what I read from this dev blog here is that there's a lot of customization, and like there's weapons, and there's different types of each weapon. There's different quadrants, so you can place your weapons in different spots. There's different ships, there's different perks, there's different attachments, and there's different furniture. And of course, those things combined will allow you to do very, very specific builds, which I'm very excited about. And hopefully, Ubisoft will add more of these things after launch, so you're always able to keep reinventing new ways of playing, or, you know, refining your play styles. So yeah, I am quite excited, and I'm actually very excited to read the next dev blog, whenever that'll be, and of course I'll go through it again on the channel. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you out there.